Welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. It is the final Monday Night Raw before Night of Champions in Riyadh, and we've got a lot to talk about tonight. I know the general consensus seems to be this was a boring Raw. Raw needs CM Punk. And while I do feel that sentiment is not unfounded, meaning I can understand the reasoning for it, I actually thought this Raw had a lot going for it, a lot of developments, and I didn't love everything. Nor would anybody expect anyone to love everything about the show. But I thought it generally moved Raw in a good direction for the PLE. Was the crowd a little bit quiet? Yes, it was. It was a weird start time as well, with the 1 o'clock start time or 2 o'clock, whatever it was here on the East Coast of the United States. But I thought, again, it was generally a productive Raw. And we're going to get into it right now. So we had Raw open up with Oba Femi coming out in his non-ring gear, and he told the London fans, which by the way it was at the O2 Arena, and when I said the crowd was quiet, it was quiet for even a United States crowd. They weren't their typical selves, and I don't know what it was. Maybe it was that Raw wasn't incredibly exciting, or that WWE has not worn out its welcome, but that the fans have gotten used to the company coming through their neck of the woods. Or maybe it's that they have a bad taste in their mouth, a bad aftertaste regarding them not getting WrestleMania in the near future. So maybe it's a combination of all three. Regardless, it was a bit quiet there in London. Again, not the worst crowd by a long shot, but just quiet for what we expect from London. So we have Oba, again, tell the fans, the London fans, they're wonderful. They chant his name. Again, they were loud for Oba, no doubt about it. He said he's been backed by Destiny since he was born, and he credited Destiny for his accomplishments and said it would be in play this weekend when he becomes King of the Ring. Oba said if he wins, he gets to challenge the champion of his choosing, and he questioned whether he would go after the WWE or World Championship. And Jey Uso comes out, crowd not particularly in love with him, and the fans called for Jey to run it back, though. To be fair, they did. Bigger reaction for Oba, no doubt, compared to Jey. This run it back crap is just horrible. But anyway, Oba said, though, if you're thinking of running it back, I'm going to put an end to that right now. And Jey made the signal to run it back, and he said that you must have forgotten I'm him, and whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. He added that he was counted out when he won the Rumble, the World Heavyweight Championship, and when he entered King of the Ring. And now, when they say he can't beat Oba Femi, he said he would climb this mountain. And he guaranteed that he would become the world champion, and he declared that this was Oba's warning shot. Yeah. Crowd didn't respond to that one. I know that new catchphrases can take a little while to catch on, but sometimes manufactured catchphrases will never catch on. Most of the time they don't. A lot of the time it's organic. This one is not. I don't know if it ever will. It's not the worst catchphrase in the world. But he's trying. He's making an effort to make this a thing. And I don't know if it ever will be. So Oba wondered if that meant Jey would be shooting for real at Night of Champions. And Oba warned him not to miss or he would destroy him. And then told him, well, he's going to destroy him either way. Oba said Jey isn't the family member. This was probably the most interesting line. He said that Jey isn't the family member that he's really worried about. Crowd even responded to that one. And then Oba told him to take that to his cousin, and that's it. Good stuff. Jey doesn't have much to say, never really does, speaks in gibberish half the time. At this point, Jey Uso has become a parody of himself, where he says he's not an entrance, yet that's kind of all he is. To the fans anyway, he's an exciting entrance. It's not as fun as it once was, but at this point, I think Jey Uso is on a downslide, regardless of what the fans have, whatever love they've showed him in London. When you put Oba Femi and Jey Uso in the ring, there's not going to be a lot of love for Jey Uso. The fans, if forced to choose, and they will be on the side of Oba Femi. That's not even a question in my mind. So this should be a fun matchup. Do we expect Brock Lesnar? Yes, we do. Is it possible Jey still wins? Absolutely. Absolutely. Is it possible that Oba Femi wins and faces Roman Reigns at SummerSlam? Absolutely. Would I shoot that shot right now? Hell no. Oba Femi is not ready. I don't know or understand this need for, once you find someone you like, to make them an immediate champion. Whatever happened to the slow burn? Whatever happened to story arcs? Whatever happened to layered characters? So we'll see what they do. We'll see if WWE pulls the trigger on it. I mean, Oba Femi, Roman Reigns is a SummerSlam main event, but I feel like it's much too soon. Much too soon. And Brock Lesnar is going to have a say here, whether Oba Femi makes it to the championship match or he doesn't. But if Jey Uso goes to the championship match and faces Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes, then that's a different animal. I think that Jey Uso, if he wins, and he very well could, he would go to SmackDown to face Cody Rhodes. I think that's where he would land. Because I don't think Cody Rhodes is losing the championship. Plus, Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes do have some history. Jey Uso would lose, but you could make the case that Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes loosely is a main event for SummerSlam. I still don't think it's a strong one, but it could be one. Either way, I don't want Jey Uso to win. He shouldn't win. He should be nowhere near this. Now, you could still have your cake and eat it too. What I mean by that is you could have Brock Lesnar still interfere after the match and have Oba Femi win. And maybe that's what happens, because Oba Femi should plow right through Jey Uso. There shouldn't even be, it should be non-competitive, especially based on what he's done to Brock Lesnar. So I think that if, kind of an early call here, somewhat early, because my official predictions will be coming later in the week, maybe Oba Femi beats Jey Uso flat out. Within a few minutes. Everyone's like, well, where's Brock? I guess he's not coming. And then here comes Brock, F5, probably 53, 54 times. It's about where we're at now for how many it's going to take to put Oba Femi down. So somewhere around that number, he'll F5 and take down Brock Lesnar. But the damage is already done. Oba Femi has won, which puts him in a SummerSlam main event. And you have Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi in the Saturday night's main event matchup. Maybe that's what they do. I think you could do both of those things. Have Jey not win and have Oba Femi still compete with Brock Lesnar at main event, Saturday night's main event. And then Brock moves on to Gunther. I just feel like now that I've said all that, that kind of makes the most sense to me. And that might be my prediction moving into my later in the week show. But it feels like there's no patience on the side of fans or on the side of the company if they do this. And what I mean by that is Oba Femi has just burst onto the scene in a big way. He beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania definitively. Okay, he lost the second one, but the fans are still 100% behind him. It's done nothing to damage him. We all know Oba Femi's winning the third one. You can lock that up and throw away the key. But is he really in line for a championship match? That seems to be where they're headed. It seems like that's where TKO wants him to go. They seemingly don't understand how to really build a star. What is best for the fans may not be what they want right now. And I know I'm sounding like a company, like Vince McMahon would say, and he said it before, but it feels like sometimes fans don't know what they want until they're until it's right in front of them. And even then, there's a lot of better options out there that the WWE is privy to that the fans don't know about yet. I mean, we can only as fans guess as to what's going to happen. We don't have the crystal ball that WWE does. So we can only evaluate what's in front of us. Kind of a circular reasoning here. My whole point about this is it just feels like TKO is maybe rushing into this. They said they are the ones who make the creative decisions. They said that publicly. That's not me guessing. That's what they said. So if that's true, that tells me that they are very amateur at this. I mean, we have a lot of evidence to show that they have really no idea what they're doing with a lot of creative decisions and their obsession with celebrities, thinking that that's going to be the way to build wrestling, which of course is not. But I don't want Oba Femi in a championship match yet. Can we wait till the Rumble? Why can't he win the Rumble? He could. Now, just because he's in a championship match doesn't mean he's going to win. You could have him in a championship match. He wins the King of the Ring, faces Roman Reigns, and loses at SummerSlam. He could do that. That's very possible. He doesn't have to win a championship right now. But my point is, I would still put him in the Royal Rumble and make him a favorite to win and have him win the whole damn thing and go on to main event WrestleMania 43. That doesn't seem to be the way they're going, but it's possible. Okay, I've spent way too much time on the opening segment of the show that had nothing to do with the opening segment. All right, so let's continue. We have Adam Pearce walk backstage. LA Knight encountered him, and he's talking again about the bloodline bias that he says that Adam Pearce has. And then Jimmy Uso showed up and took issue with Knight, hitting him with a chair. That's right. He hit him with a chair last week. And Pearce booked Knight versus Jimmy for later in the show. And Knight said that was a terrible idea. And okay, whatever. I mean, I don't need to see Knight and the bloodline anymore, but here we are. Run it back. Talk about running things back. Here we go. So we then have the first match of the night. Paige and Bree versus Lyra and Bayley for the women's tag team titles, because of course we're going to put the tag titles on the line, because that's just what the tag champions do every time they're in a match at all, ever, which makes women's tag team championship matches feel about as special as breathing air. I mean, it just there just doesn't have any value in it. Now, that doesn't mean that the company hasn't done actually a pretty nice job over the last couple of years of making the tag team division an actual tag team division. But looking at the bare minimum and somehow making that special shouldn't be something we're doing, but here I am. Making an actual tag team division, tag team championship before you have a division is just so embarrassing. And they just pretended to have a division for years. And over the last couple, they've seemingly solidified a real division. But every time the women's championship, the women's champions, tag team champions come out, they have to put their title on the line. It doesn't feel special at all. Championship matches as a whole don't feel special. But when you put it, especially with the women's tag team championships, I mean, there's more, I think, championship matches in the tag team division for the women than there have been exhibition matches. And you guys can check me on that. I really think that's probably the case. There have been more championship matches in a division that has struggled than there have been exhibition matches to decide who should face the champion. But this match actually was fair. I mean, it was decent. It was short, 8 minutes, with Paige and Bree winning after hitting Rampage and getting the victory. After the match is what was the most exciting for me, obviously, with the turn here. Bayley checked on Lyra and then pulled her up to the mat, hugged her, and then Valkyria shoved her into the middle rope and then started beating her down. And producers came out to intervene. Lyra broke free, hit Nightwing on Bayley, and then Cole said that Valkyria should look in the mirror if she's upset with Bayley. This was good. Now, the crowd didn't go crazy for it, but they reacted. They reacted the way that you would expect someone to get a reaction for, at least the type of reaction, maybe not the intensity, but the type, meaning they booed. It wasn't a lot of loud boos or oh my God or holy yes. No. But this does something for Lyra. This is something for her to sink her teeth into because she has just been kind of absorbed into the women's division, hasn't stood out much for a while, and now she has a pioneer in the women's evolution to work with in Bayley. And there's a lot of rumors flying about her contract and how she's done with wrestling, or at least done with WWE when her contract expires. And if I were her, I'd definitely think about it. The reason being, I would say, hey, I don't and haven't been doing much of anything for not just a few months, but a few years now. Years. That kind of tells me that they've run out of ideas and have no real ambition to do much more with me. I'm going to go somewhere where I can make a splash and make a similar amount of money. I'd really consider that. So we'll see what Bayley does in the coming months. I don't have an exact date of when her contract expires, but she's someone you gotta, I think, consider as a potential defect or no, someone. No, she's not really defecting. She's just going to AEW. I think that's a little too malicious of a term. She's just going to be going to AEW after her contract expires. That's my guess. It's not what I'm saying is going to happen or has been reported. But if I were to step back and go, I'd get the feeling that she's probably going. Anyway, for Lyra, this is a really good moment. Excuse me, because Lyra, again, has been doing a bunch of nothing. Her and Bayley have had decent chemistry. It's been okay. It's been a weird relationship. Remember when Bayley was having voices in her head and Lyra had to slap her back into reality or whatever? Weird. So it's, again, someone great with for Lyra to work with. We'll see what the heel Lyra looks like. And it tells you that they have ambition for her. Or at least have promise for her. They're giving her an opportunity. So we'll see if she can capitalize. But I like it. And I think this is something, again, for her to do. Significant for her to do. All right. Chad Gable comes out. And he stood on the rope and sang the Keep On Running chorus of the song. And so he's getting his new entrance music over, which was decent. It's decent. And he said he was here for something close to his heart. He said he'd had a hell of a month, which started when he lost his mask in Mexico, and said he realized he'd lost his dignity and friends, and said Ray taught him it's never too late to apologize. And Gable said he was going to call out a few people to do just that. And he called out the Alpha Academy, Otis, Akira, and Maxine. And he spoke highly of all three of them and took responsibility for his actions. And he said to Otis that they trained together at the Olympic Training Center. And he spoke about Otis's loyalty and recalled that Otis held his kids in his arms when they were born. And Gable apologized to all of them. And Otis was ready to shake Gable's hand, but that's when Maxine cut in front of him. And this was by far one of the best highlights of Raw. I mean, it wasn't a I'll never forget it moment, but if you're talking just about the narrowity of this show, this was a good moment because we had Maxine step up. So she said that she knew the fans and everybody were ready to forgive him, but she wasn't. And that they were going to leave Gable where they left him, alone. She talked about how, that he made her basically walk around like a dog, that he was going to beat Otis with his belt, and that she was humiliated by him week after week. And it was so well done by Maxine. She felt confident. She felt as if she wasn't rehearsing lines. It was a breakout moment for Maxine. I don't know where they're going with this, honestly. I wish we weren't still on this apology tour by Chad. He does seem like he's in good faith doing all this. This doesn't seem like a double turn back to a heel again. This seems real, which I hope it is. And the fans are behind him. So there's no better time to strike. I just wonder what the payoff is here. You can't have Maxine versus Chad you can't. I mean, we all know the rules of wrestling these days. So I don't know what this is. Maybe Maxine, does get physical and ends up kicking him in the nuts. It costs him a match, and he ends up coming close to maybe giving her an angle slam or something, or putting her in an ankle lock, which I would actually find highly entertaining. And I wish we were still in a world where that was okay to do in pro wrestling. I mean, I don't understand why it's not, which I won't get into here, but I mean, I do know why people perceive it as wrong, but moving on. My point is, we don't know what this payoff is because we can't get to the obvious conclusion, which would have been Maxine and versus Chad, but we're not doing that. So what is this? Is this Maxine trying to poison the minds of Otis and Akira? What is this? Are we supposed to be on the hook for a forgiveness acceptance from Otis? I mean, what is this? I don't know, but that doesn't mean this was bad. This was really good. I enjoyed this because not everybody is accepting him at face value. And that makes sense in the real world. Somebody that was acting the way that Chad was in the real world, you wouldn't just immediately forgive them. No, some people would, some people wouldn't. So this makes sense. This is logical. As much as I don't like the apology tour, if we're going to do it, this makes sense. So Maxine stepped up in a big way. I hope we get more of this. I don't know what this means for her. For me, the biggest moment or the biggest benefactor from this segment was her. Not even Chad. Not even Otis. Maxine. So we will see what this leads to. All right. So we have Ethan Page take on Dragon Lee, and Ethan Page won in 10 minutes after hitting the Egoplex, which, I have to say, as much as I do like Ethan Page, and I have said for weeks that I think he's going to be a dark horse heel that creeps up on us as, wow, he's really good all of a sudden, I don't like his finish. The Egoplex is just a fisherman's suplex, and it doesn't look devastating. There's nothing special about it. It's nearly as bad as, say, Big E's big ending. It's nearly that bad. I saw it, and I don't know why I've accepted it in the past. I looked at it, I'm like, that just looks weak. It's a safe move, which is great. You're not putting any undue risk on somebody to take your move, but it doesn't look like a finish. And if I saw the match and I didn't know what his finish was and I had to identify it, I would have never chosen that as a finish. It's just, he's got to go something else. Go with something else, please. But other than that, having him beat Dragon Lee, I didn't have an issue with it. I mean, they worked well together. It didn't blow me away, but it was good. And we did have Paige's eye get hit a little bit. I don't know if it led to anything serious. I don't think it did, which is good. But having Ethan Page beat Dragon Lee, is this going to elevate Page to the next level? No. Is it going to hurt Dragon Lee? No. It's not really going to do too much for either man unless the losing streak or winning streak continues. You need to build off the win for Ethan by having him maybe win next week and win the following week, and all of a sudden he's in contention for the Intercontinental Championship, something like that. Same with Dragon Lee. I just don't want this to be a 50-50 booked program, and I could see it from a mile away being that. But these two guys, I mean, WWE is built on youth. At least that's where they should be building, and Ethan Page and Dragon Lee are certainly that. Okay, we had Jackie Redmond, or rather Cole first in my notes here. He did hype season 3 for Unreal on July 21st. And so if you care about such things, about the Unreal deal, then you can watch that. But I haven't really watched a whole bunch of it lately. So Jackie Redmond interviewed the Vision's Braun Breaker, Austin Theory, and Logan Paul. And Theory pointed out the brace on Logan's arm. And Logan said he'd like to take it off and beat the Profits with it, and said that if he were a betting man, before adding that he is one, he'd put all the money he has on the Vision tonight. And look, Logan Paul being injured and coming back to do promos, I love this. Not that I love the Logan Paul character so much. I just love the idea that someone can be injured and still be a part of the show. I said this last week, but seeing it again this week, it needs to be emphasized. It's something that is an option now. You need to be careful, of course, where they don't take an actual bump anywhere, that they're only a mouthpiece. But to have them still on the program, if they're a good talker, is a nice, it's a different feel to the product than when you see someone go down with an injury and you're thinking to yourself, well, that's it. I'll see you in 6 months, 8 months, 12 months. If the injury allows for it, and it's, of course, not a leg injury. Of course, again, it does matter what the injury is, what body part is injured. And if it's your arm, it's a little bit more flexible where you can come on air. You can walk, you're more limited. You're less limited in mobility. So you have the ability to show up and come to the arena, cut promos or cut pre-tape promos, even if you are injured in another body part. What about cutting promos from a hospital bed? Keeping men and women that are injured occasionally, not every time, but occasionally still on the program somewhat regularly is a nice change of pace from the typical, oh, you're injured, see you in 6 months, and that's it. So it's a kind of change course here, and I like it. I like this a lot. So, all right. Io Sky was then in the ring, and Sky said she's extremely grateful to be Queen of the Ring final, and she can't wait to take the crown, and said she would beat Liv Morgan. And again, you knew within 10 seconds somebody was going to interrupt her because she can't speak English very well, and that's the case. So Liv Morgan does come out and spoke about winning Queen of the Ring and said she would go to SummerSlam and beat Rhea Ripley again. And Sky asked if Morgan was sure the crown would fit on her big head. That was a bad line. I missed that. That's just a bad line. All right. Anyway, Sky yelled at Morgan in Japanese, and then Morgan punched Sky, who ended up hitting her with a springboard dropkick and a kip up. This was okay. Nothing special here. Seeing Liv and Io face to face, of course you need that before the Queen of the Ring final. You do. Same with the men. But did I come away more excited about this match than going in? No. Did I come away less excited? No. This was a take it or leave it segment for me. It didn't help or hurt. And that's a tough thing to do in wrestling. You can usually come out thinking, at least, was this good or bad for the particular story they're trying to tell? Is it a net negative or a net positive? This one was right on the baseline. I don't know. It was okay. If this promo never happened, would I have changed how I feel about the match on Saturday? No. So Liv and Io, fine. They did what they had to do. It was okay. LA Knight then comes out, and Danhausen was in his lab. That's when JD and Dom showed up, and McDonough accused Danhausen of stealing $100,000 from him from last week, and Danhausen told him that he already spent the money. And he showed him what he spent the money on, which was just, I don't know, a bunch of supplies or something, whatever it was. McDonough threatened to take the items, and then Danhausen cursed him. Dom said McDonough was uncursable, and then he grabbed one of the items McDonough did that Danhausen bought, and he was electrocuted. So people keep getting electrocuted on the show. I have nothing bad to say about this, which probably does shock a lot of you, pun intended. I don't have much bad to say. It's silly. Everyone's all in, and it's just nonsense. But it's nonsense done in a way that isn't cartoonish. where it totally insults my intelligence, where they're trying to fool me. Everyone knows what this is. And if you're all in, I'm all in. Fine. It eventually may turn into like total garbage, and I may eventually be super annoyed by it and feel differently. But for the moment, I think this is just fine. Really, their segments have been as good as you can be for stuff like this in wrestling. All right. We have then LA Knight and Jimmy Uso. And this match went 12 minutes and 20 seconds. And LA Knight wins. How? He hit Jimmy with the BFT. But how did he get to that point? Well, we had Knight cut off Jimmy and Solo Sikoa show up in the crowd. That distracted Knight. Jimmy then knocked Knight off the ropes. Solo climbed onto the apron, smiled at Jimmy before hitting him with a Samoan spike. And then Knight sat in the opposite corner and bam, Jimmy Uso loses. So Solo ends up Samoan spiking Jimmy. So here we go. Now Roman's got the authority or the ambition or justification, more accurately, to come to SmackDown and try to exact his revenge on Solo's MFTs. Who cares? I will continue to say, I'm just going to banner the entire Samoans versus Samoans part 48 as who gives a shit. That's the name of the storyline. I'm going to code it very accurately. Who gives a shit? So when I say that and you're like, what story is he talking about? The who gives a shit story. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, that's that. And I don't mean that again as a disrespect to these guys. I mean, they've all accomplished a lot in their careers, especially with the Usos and Roman, of course. But this is a who gives a shit to the creative. Those in charge of creative. Triple H, Lee Fitting, whoever the hell that guy is. Nobody could pick him out of a lineup. We just see his name in the executive producer credits. This nameless, faceless goon of creative. And also TKO themselves, who admittedly said they are in charge of creative. So everybody gets the heat on this. You guys have nothing original. You're rehashing a story from 6 years ago. All right. So, continuing. The Street Profits were interviewed, and we had Cole. He hyped the Great American Bash event for Sunday. And then Jackie Redmond approached Bayley and asked her about Lyra's actions. And Bayley said she had nothing to say. Maybe her voices do. I don't know. So Liv Morgan, or rather JD McDonough, didn't know who he was after he was electrocuted. It was funny. It's fine. We have Corey Graves in a pre-taped sit-down interview with Seth Rollins. And they spoke about Rollins facing Breakker in a cage match at Night of Champions. And Graves mentioned that there's a possibility that Rollins doesn't walk out of the match. And Rollins said he's been an expert at finding his way around problems, and said the way he won the world championship the last time wasn't in the most upstanding way. He said it didn't tell him who he was. He said his match with Breakker would tell him and the world who he is. And he said if he can beat Breakker, and put the vision behind him, then he can get back to the goal of taking back the title that he never lost. Good stuff. Solid, to the point. And it reminded you that, oh yeah, Seth didn't lose the championship by losing it. It was injury. Great reminder. Is he going to beat Braun Breakker? My instincts say no. I don't know if that would even be a wise decision. Seth Rollins is a guy that, excuse me, guys, that feels like he's still in his prime, but that prime is fading fast. It's not a reduction in his work rate or his talent or his wisdom in the business. That continues to grow. It's a matter of just, he's been here a while now. He is a veteran He's main evented WrestleManias. He has many, many world championships under his belt, universal championships under his belt, intercontinental championship under his belt. He's faced legends like Sting, current ones like Roman Reigns, Triple H, and on and on and on. And you're looking at him going, well, what more is there for him to do? Seth Rollins hasn't really done anything since he came back. I mean, he's done a bunch of nothing burger. But that's weird. I don't mean that as an insult, but it kind of tells you that the company likes him there, but doesn't need him back. You could make the case for everybody that nobody's indispensable, even though everybody would like to think they are. They are not. But with Seth Rollins doing so little since he returned, I could see another championship run in him, but I wouldn't bank on any championship run that Seth has being very long. He's in his prime, but he's on the back half of it. And once he is not in his prime anymore, and Becky has said that she is not going to be renewing her contract when it expires, I could see Seth Rollins going part-time just to extend his career if he wants to do that. I think we're quickly approaching that for Seth, where he's not going to be on the full-time schedule anymore. He's not going to be expected to be on Raw every week or SmackDown. He's going to be a special attraction, and I'm all for that. I love that, actually. Why? Because it extends the life of his ability to wrestle. If he was pounding his body 4 days a week, and now if they ever bring live events back consistently, it would be more than that, then his career in ring would be a lot shorter. But now that WWE is more focused on work-life balance for the wrestlers, which is great for them, and the fact that he has a daughter, Becky will probably be done with wrestling by then when he's really considering it. It's something that I think we should start to think about and talk about for Seth. Not that, of course, he needs our advice. He's his own man. I'm just saying from a fan's perspective, we all take him for granted and he's just always there. But I think the writing's on the wall with how they've booked him over the last few months, not in a weak way, just kind of he's there, but not doing anything of real substance. It's been mostly about other things going on. So I don't know what my ultimate takeaway is other than to say enjoy Seth while he's here, because I don't think his full-time wrestling is going to continue for that much longer. I really don't. All right. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm totally wrong, and he goes on this tear for the next 5-6 years, and yeah, great, cool. I'm not rooting against that. That's my best guess as of this moment. Okay, Chad Gable and Adam Pearce were talking when Dom, Liv, and JD showed up. Dom questioned why Gable hadn't apologized to him, and Gable said Dom sent him to Mexico in the first place, and Gable said that's what he gets for listening to a dumbass. And Gable said Dom could try to beat the apology out of him, but Dom volunteered McDonough for a match next week, and McDonough acted like he didn't know Pierce, which was kind of funny. This is just silliness, but in a way that's somehow charming. That's a tough needle to thread. Okay, Braun Breaker and Austin Theory take on the Street Profits for the World Tag Team titles, and the match went 20 minutes long. But this being the main event of Raw should have cued you into the fact that there's a potential title change here, an increased chance of it, and we got that here. The match was, I think, very well done. Dawkins and Ford continue to show how good they are as a well-oiled veteran tag team, and this ended up again with the Street Profits winning the tag team championships. And it was their, fourth, fifth? Their fourth, I think it was. And I think that it was a needed change from the perspective of the tag titles have been kind of forgotten with the Vision, even though the Vision are objectively bigger stars just because of the association with Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker and the breakup with Seth Rollins earlier in the year and so forth. So while the titles aren't on the bigger names right now, it, I think, reestablishes the quality of wrestling that we're going to get moving forward with those tag team titles. And it does also, thirdly, cement the fact that we are not going to get a Dawkins Ford split, at least in the very near future. It could come, maybe in the next few months at the very earliest, but if they just made them tag team champions, I think that we are probably locked in again for another good 6 to 12 months of the Street Profits as a tag team. And if WWE needs more depth in the tag team division, which they always seemingly do, they're not going anywhere. They're not. So was this a jaw-dropping moment? Oh my God, the title change? No, it wasn't, but it was fine. And it makes sense. It does. All right. So a decent Raw. Again, a decent Raw, push things forward. Some significant moment happened with Maxine, with Lyra turning heel, and with a tag team championship title change. I think we got some good moments on top of the finals. Both the men and women showed up and cut a promo on one another. I thought it was well done. So not a lot, surprisingly, for me to bitch and moan about here on the Monday Night Raw review here. And that's a rarity. If you've listened to me for any length of time, you're probably saying to yourself, is he feeling all right? Did he watch the same show I did? Is he drunk? That's always an option. Although I have to say, not to go on a separate tangent, but drinking now in my early 40s it's a different animal. You have to schedule it. Like you need to actually open your calendar, or digital one, of course, unless you carry a physical one, which God bless you. But you need to schedule it, especially if you have kids and a wife and everything. You got to schedule it. You got to schedule it at least several weeks in advance, if not more, because you got to figure out, okay, what am I doing the next day? How am I going to get from here to here? Who's going? What time exactly do you think I'll leave my house to go to here? And then am I going to Uber it from here to here? It's a whole thing. It's like a research project that you have to do in preparation for this one night of 6 hours of drinks with friends or whatever. And it's so funny how now that's the process. But when you're in your late teens, early 20s, and even into your late 20s, early 30s, it's just second nature. You're just all right, guys, I'll be out here at, I don't know, whatever bar or tavern is near you, your local place, or your place in a city near you, or somebody's house or whatever. You're just yeah, man, I'll be there at 7, 8, 9 o'clock. And just okay, cool. And you take those days for granted. It's part of your weekend. It's part of just what you did. And there's a lot that I don't remember. Now, I didn't really I have to say, I never really truly blacked out where I don't remember the whole night, but there's times where just there's chunks, large chunks of several hours. I go, yeah, I don't know. And then you wake up and you got that pit in your stomach. You got your anxiety, your heart's fluttering. You're just oh my God, what did I say to so-and-so? You look at your phone, you're oh my God, there's so many, it's just crazy shit. I could cut a show on this whole thing. I mean, the things that, at least what I could share with you on this show that I've done, seen, been involved in, as we all have, not all of us, but maybe you didn't have the party scene. Maybe the party scene wasn't a thing for you. You didn't care about it. And that's cool too. I mean, I, in a way, envy those people that never got into that, because it does take a part of your life away when you're younger. And it's such an easy scene to get into when you're younger too, because a lot of people do it, and you likely had a friend or two that was in it and maybe invited you, and you feel on the outside if you don't do it. And if you do start into it, it's easy to just get sucked in for years. And let's be clear, there's a lot of fun moments. It's not that this whole thing, even if you were a weekend warrior, that was it wasn't a black hole of abyss of just garbage. Like, there's a lot of just memorable moments, and some of the best times in my life were during my late teens into 20s and early 30s, and it's a hell of a time. I don't need to tell you if you've been through it, and not to say that it was all good, right? It's got its downsides, it's got its bad stuff, and I mean, on top of the stuff you say or do that you wish you didn't, just health, weight gain, anxiety. It still gives me anxiety, even when I have the rare occasion to drink now. I just wake up and I'm just so anxious. It's just immediate, and I can't even sleep. I'll wake up earlier when I drink than when I don't, because I get so worried, and I'm like, what am I worried about? It just causes like a small panic attack or something. But all right, well, moving on. Let's end the show here. Appreciate everybody listening. If you want to go ad free, patreon.com/WWE podcast. Give us a 5-star rating if you like us. If you don't, do it anyway. All right, but thanks everybody. We'll be back in a couple of days with some retro stuff, and videos are forthcoming, and of course the preview and prediction show for Night of Champions, and the mailbag as well. Lots of content coming this week. Thanks everybody. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the WWE podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.